You are now listening to Sierra Unraveled, hosted by yours truly. I am a single mother who finally released myself from a toxic relationship with the help of God, of course, so I can pursue my wildest dreams. Tune in every week for some crazy stories, real life drama, and motivation to keep going. You got this. I just really want to know every single time I start recording, why does a plane fly over my house? And it's not just like a quiet plane in the distance. It's like one of those loud planes that could potentially like crash into my house at any point. Like that's how close the airport is to me. Anyways, I was supposed to be watching The Chosen. I promised a friend I would watch it today, and instead here I am recording an episode. It's fine. I'll get to it after this. I wanted to talk about my birth and pregnancy experience, but I usually just like start writing, and whatever feels most natural at the moment I kind of just go with. Also, I'm seriously done talking about having guests on my show because I legit jinx it every single time. It's like, when will I learn? I shall not speak it into existence thus more. That's what I'm just gonna keep repeating like over and over about a lot of things in my life. I don't know, but everyone is really busy and I understand that, and I just keep getting my hopes up, and then they'll like back out, or we'll have some like major scheduling conflicts. I know it's a me problem. I need to just stop. The ones who are meant to be on my show will be. I honestly can't even look at how much time I've spent researching the people that I've like reached out to and asked to interview, and then like crafting questions specifically tailored to my show. And then that would just be a waste of my energy because I already wasted time. Anyway, never mind. Moving on, I am a straight diggity downright people pleaser. I should not be identifying with that title for those creeps and sick people who look to prey upon me for their own personal advantage. But hear me out. Doing things for other people makes me feel good. Like radiate, heart glowing, throbbing, shining. I could skip, jump, hop for joy. Like that just makes me feel good. I don't do it for other people's personal benefits either, or because I'm trying to prove something. I do it because I want to. And I mean, the only thing I could probably be trying to prove is that there's still good people out here and not everyone is out to get them. But besides that, seriously nothing else. I watched a video in a support group that I'm a part of. Ashamed and proud to say that there's currently 3 groups that I work with and talk with weekly, but every group speaks to a different portion of my life. Each is very unique and valuable to my personal growth. So anyways, in one of them, another member posted a video about being a highly sensitive person, an HSP, and that is me. Your girl over here, long curly hair, green eyes, weirdo, silly, goofy, likes to sing. I don't even know all the things to describe me, but I'm an HSP for sure. And I'll put the video in the show notes if you think that you could relate. I legit feel everything. Like, I always knew I was an empath, but this video literally explained it to a T. And being an HSP is a good and bad thing, I'd say, because, I don't know, I just like to ponder on the goodness, of course. And then when I say goodness, I mean like I can easily and often do place myself in someone else's shoes. I ask myself, if I were them, like how would they feel, or what would I want from another person if I were them? And then I often feel other people's emotions. If you cry in front of me, I will likely tell you to stop crying unless you want me to cry with you. And then if you like take too long to respond, like I'm already crying, like it's too late, we've already passed go, like there's no going back. And then you probably feel guilty that you made me cry, but it's not that you made me cry. I just felt like it was not okay for you to cry alone. And that's just honestly how I roll. No one should ever feel like they're suffering alone or going through whatever situation they're in alone. So here I come to reassure that notion. The HSP traits in me drive a lot of things that I do or say, except when I'm in a bad mood and someone quite frankly pissed me off. Although I'm getting much better at filtering myself before responding with how I really feel, I am also realizing, again, it is just a me problem, not them. Most people don't intentionally do or say things to just ruin your day or frustrate you. You have the power to process if it's going to affect you or not. My HSP-ness, that sounds so weird, but my HSP-ness I'm not gonna edit that out, that was funny, but okay. Pushes me to do a lot of things that most people probably wouldn't do. For instance, the other day I was at work waiting for my clients to load up on the bus, and there's a big sign out front of the building in some raised landscaping. It just like flew out onto the sidewalk, like smack dab. I don't know who blew it down, Jack and the Beanstalk, I don't know, but it came smacking down on the sidewalk. It was just a tad windy, I don't know. And there's a man who just watched it happen, and then he just left it there. It was kind of like a intermediate foot traffic area. It's kind of like busy. I don't know, there's like a market going on or a little boutique set up outside. So there's people walking by. But still, I feel like any regular, HSP person would have picked it up so that it doesn't impede traffic for whoever else comes strolling along next. But he didn't. And I just watched. And it took all of me, literally all of me, not to get out of the driver's seat and move it myself. But I know that if I did that, I just might have said something to him like, what, you're too good to move this or something? And then a person in a motorized wheelchair comes whirring along. Whirring. Like, on the motor scooter or whatever. He looks at the sign, then looks at the same guy who could have very well moved it, and then he looks back at the sign. And obviously, the man in the wheelchair probably also thought like that man should at least have the decency to move it for someone who's potentially handicapped comes like along and maybe they can't get out and move it themselves. Nope, that wasn't the case. The man in the wheelchair stopped and moved the sign himself. And just then, like, my heart broke into a zillion pieces. Okay, I'm being a little dramatic, but really, was it that much of an ordeal to help that man at least move it? I can't remember entirely, but I wouldn't be surprised if that bystander, the one that wouldn't help, either walked away as it were happening or turned his back. I don't get it. I was not raised like that. And as I get worked up all over again, I just caught a whiff of my lemon ginger tea that I just brewed. It smells heavenly and just brought me back to my zen because nominal things like that I would consider a good deed or a random act of kindness or some type of giving in some sort of way. My list of examples that I'm about to give are just some other ways that I try to give back to my community or just random people in general. I honestly don't have a lot of money to just give away like I really hope I will be able to one day, but in the meantime, I've decided that random acts of kindness and good deeds are just as sufficient. For your neighbors, helping plant flowers, taking out their trash when they've forgotten, inviting them to dinner so they don't have to cook that night, offering to cut their grass, harassing the township not to give them a citation for their yard because they're in their 80s or 90s and you'll do it if they just give you a chance. Mass texting everyone in walking distance if they need anything from the grocery store when you're on your way there anyway. Shoveling snow, putting all of your unnecessary items on the curb with a big ass free sign because someone might need them more than you do. I even gave away a flat screen TV once. Also like sharing community knowledge about new ordinances to your neighbors so that no one gets in trouble, leaving flowers that you picked from your garden on someone's doorstep, asking a neighbor if they need help moving something inside or outside when you see them doing it by themselves are just like a few of my regular things that get incorporated into my daily agenda. And then for strangers, giving away leftovers from your huge Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner or whatever meal you cook. If you have too much food, give it away. Offering to pay for their groceries, leaving a leftover balanced gift card for the next person in line who might be short. Quote unquote cereal tipping an extra $5 or $10 for the person that bagged your groceries or the person in the drive-thru window at the fast food restaurant. Going out of your way to leave a good review for an employee that helped you out that day, donating clothes or items to your local thrift store, or asking someone if they need help carrying their groceries, pulling over when you see an accident and ask if they need help. This lady one time watched Kyla, who was in her car seat while I ran to put the cart back in the carousel. It was hot as balls outside. My AC was cranking, but as a mom, when your car is running, you're just like always paranoid someone is going to drive off with your kid. And then like just over the weekend, a spare cashier, they saw that Kyla was trying to bag like bananas, like I always try to let her help me, but sometimes she just gets in the way. So usually I like set her up with her own little like mini situation of whatever situation I'm trying to handle. So like gave her own bag, and then like I gave her bananas to try and put in the bag, but the bag was kind of small and the bananas were kind of large. So like she was really struggling and ended up like ripping the bag, and she was getting really frustrated. And then like I'm trying to hurry up and self-checkout. So this cashier comes over and she helps her do that. It was so freaking nice. And then like a few weeks ago, I saw a man come out of a liquor store in Detroit and take literally the shirt off his back and give it to a homeless guy. I also am like really big on like giving someone compliments, whether it's their hair, their clothes, their shoes, whatever the case may be. And the list goes on. Like one time I pulled over and jumped someone's car just because they were pushing it very turtle-like, and it was kind of blocking the street, and I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna help them. I know some of these things seem kind of sketch to do by myself as a single woman, but to me, I think that's all the more reason that I need to. People are bitter and people are rude, and it's difficult for me to be that kind of person just because. Someone must have like seriously offended me or overstepped a boundary for me to act like that, and still it still could be unnecessary on my part. Sometimes it's just the issue of communicating properly. And lastly, for friends and family, everyone has their own life, own problems, own feelings, and whatever else to handle. A simple phone call, a single picture message, a handmade card in the mail, an email to catch them up on your life, dropping off food to them at work can all go a very long way. People just want to feel included or important or a part of something bigger. That's it. I also realize that most people don't have the greatest relationship with their families, specifically with their parents. If they are straight up rotten or abusive, I promise you can still love from a distance. You will just need to implement some kind of boundaries. You also could still help them out from time to time. Check in if they need anything when you come into town. Handle the dishes, grocery shopping, other errands, dog walking, doing the laundry that's piled up, mailing something out, whatever. Something that little like that can make a huge difference. I've been this kind of person for as long as I can remember. I always wanted to help other people, and I didn't understand why. My heart is too big for my brain at times. It's frustrating that I can't help everyone, but I sure as hell try. Knowing that I helped someone that day brings me peace and fulfillment. Also why I started this podcast in the first place. Someone needs to hear my story. Someone needs to be encouraged, uplifted, redirected, or moved. Who knows? That someone could be you. I'm just trying to share what things help me feel better, and giving happens to be one of them. Giving should include anything that absorbs your time, your money, your effort, your wisdom, or your physical hands. Not everyone is able to function as efficiently as you do, so maybe just start with one thing a day. And before you know it, you'll be a giving king or queen too. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Sierra Unraveled. I hope you have an amazing week. As always, stop letting them unravel you, because only you can unravel yourself.